Okay, Mr. Garrett, my name is Bakari Baji, a student with the Eastern Gateway Community College. I'm doing an interview on mostly what the police work is. So my first question is, what are the major roles of a police officer?
The main function of a law enforcement officer is, in a nutshell, is maintaining public order and safety, enforcing the laws, preventing and detecting crimes and investigations, just being an active deterrent in the community.
Okay. All right. In your work, community plays a major role. What initiative does your unit have in place to promote police-community relationship?
Basically having or developing a rapport with the community. So either going through interviews like having coffee with a cop, the chat and chew, the city league meetings, basically like a neighborhood watch where people understand it as. Just basically going off and addressing the needs of the community and assessing to see what's going on in their neighborhoods. We don't all the time do criminal complaints. It's more of just listening and actively listening to what is going on in their neighborhoods so we can bridge that gap and having a community relationship with the officers and with that community to show forth that, hey, we're here to help. We're interested in what's going on in your neighborhood, and we are there to help. Not just driving through in your patrol unit, but actually getting out on foot patrols and being, interacting with the citizens and listening to their concerns, and also by implementing a plan of action and showing that, okay, we're not just there just doing this show in our face. We're actually going to try to do something. So that's what I think that will help maintain the public's faith in the system for us.
All right. Okay, generally, the public knows that the police have a lot of work to do. Going into crime zones, the investigations you talk about. What would we consider to be the major challenges that the police unit or the department face in their work?
Oh, wow. Well, there is many challenges in this day and age and what's going on in law enforcement right now. It basically comes down to the court of public opinion. Yeah. And basically we just have a lack of trust, of how law enforcement as a whole is negatively depicted across, the media and different avenues and showing us what we are, but not necessarily showing like what it is. A lot of good officers out there, but you see those ones that go out there and do wrong and they wrap it all into one that is all of us that's doing that. Yeah. And it just makes it bad for us, so that is a challenge. Transparency. I think that is a number one key for law enforcement agencies today, is to be transparent in everything. And that's basically having your policies and your protocols and your general orders to reflect the same. So if they're not transparent in those policies, then of course your agency is going to come across as not being transparent to the public. As far as like videos, this day and age, everything is recorded. Yeah. Everything is recorded that you do around here, and it's rather for good or it's for bad. But at some instances, you're going to be recorded. So I just say here, once things is recorded, it's very, very little room for forgiveness in the public opinion. And if they catch you out there doing something, you just got to be mindful to know that you have to be making sure that you following your policies and protocols to the T, because it will be documented. The same for as far as use of force. More now, this is my 14th year in law enforcement, and I'm seeing more now of young officers who I train at the police academies, in which I am an instructor, but I see them now hesitating to even act on a situation. And that can cause harm to themselves or to the public, and it's a risk. But I also see it on the other side of the spectrum, where they are escalating a situation instead of de-escalating a situation because of what's going on in society right now with law enforcement. So all in all, I believe that agencies that do represent being transparent, it also has a positive effect on bridging that gap as far as overcoming those major challenges.
All right, so let's say Officer Garrett happens to be the head of a department. What would be the initiative that you would put in place to ensure that the police are accountable?
Accountability, it starts at the top. And it will always start at the top. If your top is not there, the rest of your department is not going to be there. That also involves holding each and every individual police officer accountable for what they do. And as a whole, for the agency, and effectively delivering those services to the community. So For me, that would be through revisiting policies, protocols, general orders, and making sure that they reflect the operation of a smooth department. And also in officer recruitment. People tend to miss out on the officer recruitment. Like, yes, you see things, people are hiring for agencies all over the country, but it starts with the efforts to ensure that we are hiring qualified candidates for being in law enforcement. Everybody is not tend to be a law enforcement officer, and that's okay. But the recruitment need to see those selection process to show like, okay, this is the best viable applicant that I have, and they need to stay on those standards and not deviate from those. Also, in training officers, that is also a big concern right now in law enforcement is improperly trained officers. In order for an officer to be held accountable for their actions regarding policies, protocols, and general orders, officers need to be trained, as well as they need to be trained for what you expect for them to do. So you can't tell them not to uphold this, but you didn't train them to do that. And I mean, over the years that I've seen where officers will go into a situation or they have an incident and they say, well, I was never trained in that area. So therefore, we can't keep holding on to that. So even across the United States, in this country with law enforcement, every training unit need to hold that is the core value of you need to be documented and documented the training, documented the viewing the policies, so therefore they can be held accountable for their actions. Like I said before, look, accountability is an individualized thing, and that's what needs to happen.
Officer Gary, thank you so much for this interview. I appreciate your time.